Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing out there today? Well, I'd like to welcome everybody back to our Fort Worth Community Arts Center program, Boxed Lunches. Today we have a fantastic artisan with us, and I'd like for everybody to welcome the one and only Ariel Davis.
Hi, everyone.
How are you doing today, Ariel?
Huh?
How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm hanging out at home, working from home, and I've got some awesome food here to make with you.
Very nice. Well, I can't thank you enough for joining me for lunch. And I guess first and foremost, would you mind taking just a moment to introduce yourself and who and what you're about?
Sure. My name's Ariel Davis. Obviously, I'm the gallery manager at Art Space 111. I'm an artist from Fort Worth, and I also am the chairwoman for Art Tooth, and a local arts nonprofit here in Fort Worth. I also belong to the Fort Worth Art Collective, which does pop-up shows all over Fort Worth and DFW.
Busy, 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 indeed. Well, we're so excited to have you. And again, I can't thank you enough for taking the time. And more importantly, what have you got on your lunch menu today?
Well, I love to cook, but a lot of things that I make usually take a lot longer than 20 or 30 minutes. So I wanted to create a fruit and chicken salad for y'all today. So I have some strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, some spinach and mixed greens. I have walnuts, and then I went ahead and pre-cooked a chicken breast that's been marinated in raspberry dressing.
Very nice. Sounds absolutely delicious, and there is indeed some beautiful color in there, so I love that. I can't wait to see the finished product. If you've been keeping up with the Box Lunch program at all, I tend to take things a little bit more simple. I'm starting to learn my lesson. So today I will be making hot link sandwiches. And my ingredients are a little more simple than what you've got there, not quite as pretty. I've basically got some buns and some hot links and some cheese. I've also got some sauerkraut as well, but I couldn't spell it, so I didn't put it on the list. So. All right, Ariel, we're going to go ahead and get into prepping the lunch. And while we're starting our meal preparation, I was curious if you would talk for just a little bit about how your organization or yourself as an artist has been reacting or affected by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and start with myself, and then I'll move into the organizations. I have been fortunate in that I started off, at the beginning of this, I had some projects lined up that will take me through the summer to complete. And so I've used this time, that we've been at home to continue to work on those projects. I've been being in the studio as an artist, you are usually isolated anyway. So it's just been different in that I usually go out and am very active socially, and so that's been changed quite a bit. As far as the organizations, Art Space 111, we're open by appointment only, and we've really ramped up our presence online. So you can visit us through our website, through Artsy. You can tour the exhibition that we have virtually. And so it's really forced us to become, more online for sure. Art Tooth has been extremely affected because most of our events and our shows are social events. So everything that we had planned had to be canceled, including spring gallery night. Right. And any exhibitions that we had planned have been postponed.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's been certainly tough to cross the hurdles that have been presented to a lot of the in-house galleries and theater organizations and things like that. So it's been refreshing in a sense to see how the arts have been organizing themselves and coming up with ways to continue to platform not only themselves, but also other artists out and around in the community. So it's been really, exciting to see a lot of the ways that, I guess in a positive light, people have been branching out outside of their own buildings to get their messages across. So thank you.
Yeah, I think it's been really fun to, explore this kind of communication with people, and to try and talk about what's happening, outside of, just face to face. So there's definitely been a learning curve and learning everything that there is to do virtually to reach an audience that cares about the arts.
Yes.
So,
yeah, it's certainly been a great way to learn some new social media platforms and software and all of that stuff as well. So
yeah, that's for sure.
All right. So do you mind just telling me a little bit about your lunch preparation, what all you got going on there, and kind of how you compile your ingredients into a fabulous lunch?
Yes. Well, it all started really with the chicken. I went to Tom Thumb and a couple days ago had to restock, so I picked up some things for the lunch. It's just a boneless, skinless chicken breast, and then salt and pepper and raspberry vinaigrette that I let it marinate in overnight. And then I put it in a pan with a little bit of chicken broth and a little bit of olive oil and covered it and let it sit for about 20 minutes.
Very nice.
And get off and let it cool. So that's really the hardest part of this. And then I just took half of it and cut it up. And then I'll be slicing up my fruit here in a minute and put it all together.
Awesome.
At the end, you can watch me shake this salad until
I can't wait. All right, I'll go ahead and give you a little breakdown of what I got going on here. So I went ahead and turned my pan on and heated up some butter spray just to make sure that it doesn't stick. And then I've just got some hot links here that I went ahead and pre-cut. And I literally just kind of drop them in. You'll hear that wonderful sizzle. And then I also just take a little bit of sauerkraut here, throw that in there as well. And then from there, it's pretty easy for me. I just kind of simmer and sizzle it around and try not to burn the thing down. So I'll let that start heating up there for me. And while I'm doing that, on a more personal note, I was kind of curious if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about what has become your favorite clothing item or go-to item while you've been sheltering and staying safe at home?
Well, normally, if I have social events, I really enjoy dressing up and kind of, expressing myself through my clothing. But since I haven't been going out, and since I've been working a lot on mural projects and being in the studio, my paint clothes have actually become the thing that I've been wearing the most. So I have, a set of clothes that have been designated as, my painting clothes, and they have paint all over them. And so that's what I've been wearing probably the most.
I know a lot of painters as well. How old are they by chance? I'm just curious. I know some people have had the same pair of overalls for 20 years.
Yeah, I have like these black jeans that just have paint all over them, and I've had them probably for 4 years.
Wow.
I used to have other ones, but I wore them out, so had to get rid of them. I also have this hoodie shirt that has like a pouch in the front that's striped. That is my favorite painting shirt. And so I've had that for 3 or 4 years.
Gotcha. And I'm assuming every time you put it on, do you reflect back on the past projects that are on it, or do you look forward to the projects that will be on it?
Oh, sorry. Say that again. You broke up for a second.
When you put it on and you've got all that paint on there, do you reflect back to past projects that are on it, or do you look forward to the paint that's going to be on it from future projects?
I guess a little bit of both. Yeah. I mean, I hope it's around that long.
right, so while you're doing your little meal prep there, it looks absolutely fabulous. Do you have any kind of secret ingredients or any tips that you include to ensure deliciousness with your salad?
I mean, besides, the chicken's kind of the hardest part. Besides that, I think that, the thing of shaking the salad at the end and then letting it sit for a couple minutes, is really, I think, the trick to kind of let it all gel together.
Very nice. My secret ingredient today is crushed red pepper flakes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I just take a little bit of that and just kind of sprinkle it in there with the sauerkraut and let that kind of settle in. And I'm a big fan of hot links, and I've found that the pepper flakes just give you a little bit of crunch in there as well, especially if you can get that sauerkraut just right. So yeah. I'm in awe. I'm so amazed at the beautiful color there on your cutting board. It looks so pretty. My lunches always seem so dull, and it's been really neat to see all of these wonderful, inventive, honestly artistic menus as well. So hats off. It just absolutely looks gorgeous. So do you mind speaking a little bit about how you see artists and arts organizations adapting now that businesses are starting to reopen?
Oh, well, I mean, I think visual arts organizations have, I think they're, begin by saying that I don't think that there's any substitute for seeing art in person. I think that if you can, you should. At this time, if you're not able to get into a gallery, I would say go, there's lots of places that have public art and that you can go see outside. Go see it now. Like, it's a good time to do that. I would also say that arts organizations are, have the benefit of, visual art being visual, which means that, you can share things through social media. You can use Instagram. You can use virtual tours, and experience it in that way. So you're still able to reach an audience, but it also requires that people that love art pay attention. So, you kind of have to meet in the middle a little bit with it, but, you have to arts organizations have to put that out there, whatever it is that they're to see. And that takes a lot of work. So I think that you see a lot of arts organizations learning how to do these things if they didn't already know how to do them, which could be great tools in the future.
Yes, absolutely. I'm really curious to see how all of this virtual connection carries over and becomes a tool to help us once we've actually got the doors and things reopen. I think we're going to find it very valuable. And I, for one, agree completely. A lot of people talk about theater in general being a community experience, and why that has been happening online. I really am very anxious to get back in and share that space personally with people, because I think it's something unprecedented to be in front of a piece of art and really be able to connect with those emotions that it provides by actually being in the physical space. If it's music or a picture or a live performance, it is certainly something that I think separates the art itself from movies and things along those lines. So very anxious to get back. What food item?
At Art Space, I was going to say that at Art Space 111, our first, we're celebrating our 40th anniversary this year, and we had to postpone, some of our exhibitions, or at least our big exhibition till the fall. But we are reopening the gallery kind of to the public with the Texas Juried exhibition.
Right.
It's going to be opening on June 27th. And one of the ways that we're adapting with that is that, we will be looking at ways to, create social distancing within the gallery as far as how you view art, and how you can still come to a gallery, because coming to look at art inside of a gallery space does not require, it doesn't have to require close personal contact with anybody. You don't necessarily have to touch anything except for maybe the front door, which we would sanitize all the time. So, we're going to be thinking about also the opening reception and what an opening reception in this kind of new normal age looks like. And instead of having it in a 3-hour period, maybe spread out over a day or two. So it's just exploring, what this kind of new age is going to look like when you are ready to see art in person.
Yes, I think definitely a challenge to not only find the resources for suggested procedures with the CDC and all of those organizations, but also how they're put into place in a lot of these different community buildings, because they're certainly not all the same size, they're not all the same layouts, and so it's going to be really interesting and encouraging in the same note to see how people band together and take a lot of those suggestions and find ways to facilitate the suggestions that are being given to us to stay safe. So I look forward to that, and certainly will be paying attention to see how you go about it, and hopefully it'll be a blueprint for many more organizations as well. So do you mind talking a little bit about what item or food venue that you're most looking forward to indulging in once the stay-at-home is now lifted and you get back and out and into the world?
I knew you were going to ask this question. Actually, my husband and my stepdaughter and I really enjoy going to the near south side to dine. And one of our favorite restaurants to go to before this all happened was Wabi, which is ramen.
Yep.
And it's our favorite ramen restaurant in Fort Worth. And I kind of struggle having, going to get ramen and bringing it because I like the experience of eating it there. And so I'm really looking forward to going back and maybe having happy hour there because they have happy hour. It's also where I have a lot of our Art Tooth meetings. So hopefully when we can get back to it, we'll go back and support Wabi if they're still going. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yes, it's been very interesting to me in talking to people in these interviews and also just, in the community. It really is encouraging that while people miss specific places or things, the consistent in all of those communications have been community. And it's been very refreshing to hear how people are missing the patios, the brunches, the conversations, and that sort of stuff, more so than any one particular thing. So again, it gives me hope that whenever we all get out of this and really have an opportunity to regroup, I'm really anxious to see the conversations that come out of it, and the communal experience really being a bond that ties us together. And I'm hoping that once that starts to happen, there is a camaraderie that really does start to unite us just by being with people and speaking with people. I know that the social distancing is challenging for a lot of people, and I think there's a misconception that that people are seeing that mentally and emotionally as well. And I hope people continue to understand that social distancing is really just a physical distance and not an emotional and communicatory distance as well. So I hope that when we're all able to get back out and see and hear each other again, that some of those barriers are able to break down, and we understand that the social distance is just physical, and we still have the ability to communicate and bond with people emotionally and spiritually. And I look forward to those times. And I just really have a feeling that people are going to be not only hungry for food, but also to be able to bond. And I really look forward to that time. So it's been a challenge to say the least.
One of the things that I have a huge, for anyone who doesn't know, I have a huge family here in the North Texas area, and there's probably 50 people that I'm related to in the area, and we used to have, before this happened, we had family dinners at least once a month. And we would get together. And since this has happened, it's been, that's been really hard. Going through that and not being able to see everybody in person. We've been doing meetings, of course, but it's not the same.
No, it certainly is not. So what has become your favorite stay-at-home activity?
So I recently got married last year, and I now live with my husband and in his house, in our house. And I don't know if you can see out the back door, but during this time, I decided that I would start gardening.
Nice.
So at home, at least, I spend my time outdoors. During, spending time outside during the spring is awesome. And we've had extended time, so I spent it outside. And I now have tomato plants that are about this tall. And I have about 4 or 5 different kinds of squash and all different kinds of flowers. I planted a pollinator garden. So I wish I could take you outside and you could see it, but yeah, that's how I've been spending my time, and cooking a lot.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, so it looks like you might be a step ahead of me there with your beautiful lunch there. So now we're moving on to plating and presentation. So
I forgot I have goat cheese.
Oh, there you go. While I'm trying to gather all of my ingredients here and plate my lunch up, I was wondering if you wouldn't mind speaking a little bit about what helpful community resources that you are seeing and or using personally, and how can your organization or yourself be assisted or provide assistance to other artists and organizations?
Well, the biggest thing right now is that I would like to mention is that ArtSpace 111 has a deadline for a call for Texas artists that is on Monday, May 18th. And that, that show will be opening June 27th. As I said, it's our first show that will be back open to the public. And we're really excited to see what everybody has been creating, during this time, prior to also. And, we have a large prize this year. Our first prize includes $2,000, and also the opportunity to show in a group or solo exhibition at ArtSpace 111 in 2021. And then we also, there's also another $3,000 that the juror, who's Kristen Gaylord from the Ann and Carter, she's the assistant curator of photographs. She will be dividing up the remaining $3,000 as she sees fit to artists to give out juror awards. The other thing that we did as a kind of added benefit to all artists that apply this year, it's brand new, we just announced it earlier this week, is that all artists that apply will have the opportunity to sell their work through artspace111.com the month following the exhibition. So in ArtSpace will 70% of all sales will go to the artists. So a big portion of sales. And we wanted to do this to give artists a platform to make sales during this time and to share all of those entries with our collector base. So, and it is a way to give back as best we can, because we know that submitting right now and an application fee can be a sacrifice for some people, and we want to make it as worthwhile as possible.
Very nice, very nice. That's some great information, absolutely. So I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, and I'm going to ask, how and where can our viewers find these activities, these programs, for anybody that might be interested?
Yeah, for someone who wants to apply to the juried exhibition, the Texas Juried Exhibition, they can visit artspace111.com, which is www.artspace111.com. And there's a link to for more information on the call there. Yeah. The other thing I really I would like to mention that I'd like to give a little bit of time to, because I think it's really important, is the Gallery of Dreams and Fine Line Productions collaboration for their project called The New Normal, which is a large fund for visual artists in Fort Worth. And I think they're giving out grants of $2,000 or $5,000 to artists that apply.
Wow.
And I think they just ended their first cycle, and they're starting to deliberate. But I think there are 2 more cycles that artists can send in proposals for. And it's, I think that call is free to apply to. And so I would like to thank the North Texas Communities Foundation through their Donnie Wiley Fund for that, the Alice Walton Foundation, and Fine Line Productions, which would be Mr. and Mrs. Ed Bass.
Very nice.
On behalf of all the artists in Fort Worth for putting this together, and also Gallery of Dreams.
Awesome. Maybe after the interview's done and you are eating your lunch, possibly you can come back to the Facebook page where we're broadcasting this and maybe put some of those links in the comments for anybody that might be looking for some additional information on that. How can we find you and your art and keep up with Ariel Davis?
Oh, well, you can visit me, you can visit my website to see a portfolio of my work, which is www.ariel-davis.com. And you can also find me on Instagram, which is Ariel Davis Art. And then I'm also on Facebook.
Awesome.
And if you want to come see me in person when everything is back to normal, you can come visit me at Art Space 111 during the week.
Sounds great. All right, Ariel, you ready for the big reveal?
Yeah.
All right, lift up that beautiful salad. Show us what you got there.
Here's my salad. You see it?
Awesome. Did you get that vinegar? There you go. You got to put that beautiful vinaigrette on. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm going to have to step up my game. Everybody's outdoing me.
Let me see if I can get some of this goat cheese on there too.
Yes, please.
I got cut up in talking.
That is absolutely gorgeous. All right, so if you can, I just want you to bring that up to the camera a little bit. Just come to the side of your butcher block there so we can all get a great look. Oh my goodness, that's what I'm looking for. Absolutely gorgeous. Mine isn't near as pretty, and it's Friday on the weekend, so I went with my fine paper china, and so so I threw a little piece of Swiss cheese on there as well, and topped off some of that sauerkraut there with my hot link sandwiches.
It looks pretty good.
I'm telling you what, I'm quite excited and ready for lunch. So Ariel, do you have any final thoughts or comments you'd like to share with everybody out there?
I would just say, if you can, look at art however you can right now. Support artists that you love, that you've been following for, however long. Artists that you've just discovered, artists that you've known for a long time. And, kind of use this time to investigate things that you like.
I could not agree more. There is so much stuff out there virtually right now that it's just such a wonderful opportunity to stretch yourself as a patron of the arts and see all of these fabulous things that are out there. Again, Ariel, I can't thank you enough for joining me for lunch today. That wraps it all up. And I'd like to remind everybody that we'll be back on Monday at 12 noon for another episode of Box Lunch with the Sunflower Man. Will be joining us on Monday.
Right.
So I look forward to visiting with him as well. Please don't forget to follow us, Fort Worth Community Arts Center, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hop over to YouTube. We've got a brand new YouTube channel with some wonderful content on there as well. And with that being said, everybody have a great weekend. Please stay safe out there. Ariel, thank you again so much for joining me for lunch. And as I always say, bon appetit. And we'll see everybody real soon. Stay safe, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good stuff.